So here we have the 2018, which is mine, and here we have the test ride vehicle. So this is how the 2018 standard version looks like. But when you compare it to this beautiful bike, it's just there's something about this, the adventure sport. Alright guys, we are going to do this again, and this time it is me going to ride this bike to kind of take you through some of the features of this bike and just get a basic overview of what this bike is capable of. But in terms of, you know, handling and going through city traffic, it's a piece of cake. There's no two ways about it. Handling, you know, the 80 in the city has always been really easy, but this particular one makes it that much more nimbler and easier. Now, throughout this test ride, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this bike on. There was somebody else that just took it for about a 20-30 minute test ride. As soon as they came in, I have taken it out, and I'm not going to switch it off even once, because we're going to try and answer a question. Does it heat up? Because in case you want to use this, you know, you want to have one bike in the garage, and that one bike should be able to commute to off-road and stuff. Is this bike capable of doing that? Because most bikes fail when it comes to using it every day, purely because, you know, you're making a fish climb a tree. That's what they say. If it is anything like the older 80s, it's not going to heat up. And in terms of you know, the total weight distribution, it's more centralized. My bike, I flick it around without any problem in city traffic or any kind of traffic, even the trails. But this one feels far more nimbler, and they have made some massive weight shavings on this bike. So that's something that I will talk about as we ride. So yeah, coming back to the weight shavings, this, you know, especially when you take it in the trails, it'll be a lot of fun. And unlike, you know, the older 80s, there's a bolt-on subframe here. What that means is, you know, in case you damage your bike on the road, maybe in an unfortunate crash or on the trail, you drop it. With my bike and the older bikes, you'll have to replace the entire chassis system. But here, since it's a bolt-on subframe, you can just have that swapped out, which is a very needed touch, especially when you say that, you know, the bike is supposed to go off-road. It's a brilliant addition. It's a must-have addition, so that, you know, you can really push the bike. And now this bike is the more what do you call it, the on-road touring friendly bike, in the sense this is the on-road variant. This is not the variant that you could take off-road. At least that's what, you know, that's the way they advertise it. But would I take this off-road? 100%. I would take this thing off-road. I mean, without a doubt. It takes no getting used to. I mean, if you know how to ride, the flickability of this bike and how nimble it is just unbelievable. It's like flicking a toy. I mean, it requires almost no effort. And in terms of visibility of the rear view mirrors, would I need to change it? Because there are a fair few bikes out there whose rear view mirrors are absolutely horrendous. This one is on point and it looks good as well. Now, do I feel any heat yet? Nope, I don't. Just to give some context, this bike has been on for over 45 minutes in city traffic, and so far nothing. I will have a quick walk around of the bike. The other good to know information is this bike comes with tubeless wire spoke rims, so it's easier to fix, you know, if it gets flat. And it's a 21-inch front wheel and an 18-inch rear wheel, just like you know, all of the 80s that were produced so far. And I think this is sporting the what is that, Bridgestone Adventure Cross Tourer. I think that's the tire that it's sporting. It's got plenty of grip on these city roads. I haven't, of course, taken this off-road, and unfortunately I can't think of any patches right now in and around the showroom that I could try that. Oh yes, I know a patch. Let's see if I can make it there, because I would also need a quick walk around and see what you are seeing in terms of the flickability of this bike in the city. It is just it's just really easy. And you know, I always keep telling my friends that my bike is so flickable and it's so easy being a 1000cc in the city, but this is a 1100cc bike, 1084 for all the geeks out there. It is extremely light, extremely nimble. So my bike, on a scale of 1 to 10, after weighing it against this one, mine's about an 8 and this one is about 11 on this. You barely feel any of the weight. What's happening here? And the riding stance of this bike is perfect. I'm about 5'7", I think, 5'7", 5'8", maybe. That's wishful thinking, or maybe I am actually 5'7", 5'8", I'm not really sure. But for somebody with my height, it's super easy to ride this. Anybody shorter than this, also, it's relatively easy to ride a bike. It comes down to skill and stuff. But in terms of, you know, feeling the weight or how you can flick this bike around, that will definitely not be a problem for anybody. So I would suggest you to come out and try out the bike if you have a doubt, and then you could probably see it. But this bike can, you know, it pulls like a tractor. It's a very naughty little bike. How good are the brakes? Oh, the brakes are on point. So that's how you move and play with the windshield. I think I will put it all the way down, and it's got these little knobs, so you have different threads where you can set it. Oh wow, I'm headed further and further away from the showroom. It's time to take that turn. I'm getting carried away. This bike is getting the better of me. The suspension, I really liked it. It's very easy to stand and ride, for sure. And you shouldn't do it in the city, but I'm doing it in the city. Oh, the grunt of this is just on point. The brakes, I absolutely love the brakes. The response for me personally is pretty good. So U-turning on this bike is absolutely no problem. It's got a 43-degree turn angle on both right and left, so it makes it very easy to turn. It's probably one of the best when it comes to a turning radius on a bike. So it's been 30 minutes of that guy, the previous guy riding, and it's close to 30 minutes of me, or 20 minutes, so it's going to be about an hour. And the bike hasn't really been stopped, and we've been riding it in the city. There's no heat, absolutely nothing. There might be something ever so slightly at your leg, but you'll barely feel that. That is me nitpicking. But can you use this bike every day in the city? Hell yes. That guy's taken a good spot off of Let's take a U-turn. So this is the U-turn dynamic. It's not hard at all. I mean, it's just exactly how this bike is designed. I'm going to leave the bike on so that it tries and burns me, which I know it won't. So we have stopped here, and this is going to be a light walk around. Let me explain to you a few things that you would want to know of the bike. So these tires are the Bridgestone Adventure Cross Tourer. It's a wire spoke rim, as you can see, so that makes it tubeless. There is a weight unit here for a balancer. Not bad. Do they have that in the front? They do. Interesting. And these are the bolt-on parts where you can remove this. So in case you damage the bike, you can just change that part rather than the entire chassis unit. The other standout features of the bike, of course, is its cornering lights, which are these. So if you tilt your bike towards the right, these go on, and if you tilt it to the left, that goes on. This bike is an absolute looker. Like I said at the start, I'm going to leave this bike on just to see how heated it can get. So right now we are in touring mode, so that is me changing. You'll see it changing, and this is a touch screen, so you will see it call it change. So if I just touch, it's very intuitive, and the touch screen sensitivity is just brilliant. I cannot complain about anything. So this one turns darker, yeah, like that. Am I having trouble seeing this? And I have a massive vision problem. Anybody that knows me will be like, oh, you're a blind bat. But I have absolutely no difficulty in seeing this, and parts of where we were riding and coming from, the sun was behind me, so I could see that. Now you have all you have to do is just click these and you will find out what you need. You can even reduce the traction or increase the traction sensitivity. Let's leave it at 4. This is the wheelie control. You have 3, so let's leave it at 2. The power, the engine braking, the traction, the ABS is on. Now what we can do is, okay, let me explain this. So you see this button here. So this button, if I click it once, you'll see this is the heated grips. Then I go over this side, and as I do that, I have all 5 levels, and then I can come back down. I already tested them. They get really warm, and it's a pretty semi-warmish day, I think, because I'm wearing all my gear and I've stopped for a while. Yeah, you can feel it. So I've turned that off. It has Apple CarPlay, like you know. I unfortunately right now don't want to test it out. So one of the reasons for having this is because when your maps or your CarPlay, when you're using your phone, you will still be able to see, you know, important information like your speed, your gear and stuff like that. That's why they have a secondary unit here. What we will do is this is the cruise control button. So I think it is at 40 or 60 where you can activate it, and it'll kind of hold your speed for you. So I'll try that at some stage, I hope, today. I doubt though, but I am hoping against hope. So what I'm going to do is, when I click the time button, here you have a ton of stuff, right? So I'm going to click settings. You look at all of this stuff. You have connected devices, Bluetooth, general service. So when I click service, you have maintenance, so it'll show you your periodic maintenance, your oil change, your service mode, your system information, which gives you, you know, your software update and all of that stuff. So this gives you the current traction, your service mode, so your cornering light. So I've switched on the cornering light. So it has a 43 angle lock. You can see this, right, on both sides. So it makes it very easy for slow speed technical maneuvers. You have a cigarette charger here, which means that you can connect your what do they call that, air pressure pump to this, and a phone USB socket there, and all of this comes stock. There's nothing on this bike that you see is not what you pay for. So anything that you want to know about the bike, any information in terms of the cost, when they're going to get delivered and stuff, you should reach out to Silicon Honda. I'm going to leave Ayush's name, Ayush, his contact details in the description, so you could reach out to him. So something to know about the seat. If you see this gap here, this gap is because the seat is right now set to 830. So if you bring it to 850, it comes here and it fills up this area. So the older bikes, that's my bike, was at an 820 and an 840. This is up by 10 millimeters on that. But do you feel the difference? No, in fact, because of how light this bike feels, you don't even feel it. You absolutely don't feel it. It just takes off. You know, if you're one of those guys who are crazy enough like me, who wants to buy one bike and use it for everything, or even if you're not that guy and you suddenly decide, oh, today I have to go to work, but my car and my other bike or whatever is in the showroom or service station, you can without fear take this bike out in the worst of traffic conditions, I'm sure, because it barely generates any heat. Like it is almost negligible. There is some heat that comes towards the shoe. That's just like my bike, and I use my bike every single day. In fact, like I said, I play football, and once I finish football, when I'm heading back home, I'm normally in my shorts. It's not recommended to ride a bike in shorts and shoes, but yes, I must be honest. And the reason why I'm in my shorts is because I know that, you know, I'm not going to get a free waxing. I could have done the walk around here. This road's rather free. Wow. And it was right here. Oh yeah, while standing and riding on this bike, I would love to take this thing off-road. All I would do, yeah, now that I've stood, I will add you know, one of those tank pads, so that I can bury my knee, dig my knee into it, tech spec ones or whatever, because otherwise it kind of slips off the surface. But that can be corrected. But the standing dynamic of the bike, let me try it again. Can I change my gears properly? Yeah, I'm changing gears. It's perfect. As in, would I be able to take this off a trail and change gears? Yeah, absolutely. I'm being able to change gears, go slowly. It's actually relatively easy, this bike. Yep, it's really easy. So we're here. And that's about it. Look how that screen turns black.